Hi, fifth graders. We're going to be reading this biography. The story looks like it's going to be the work of Rachel Carson. We're going to kind of be looking at this week's essential question, which is what impact do our actions have on the world? So I'm curious to see what actions Rachel Carson has and listen to her biography called Words to Save the World. Let's go ahead and give it a listen.
Combining her love of nature with a belief in scientific accuracy, the writer Rachel Carson raised awareness about environmental problems. As a result, the U.S. government passed laws to protect the environment. Many people believe it was Rachel's book, Silent Spring, that started the environmental movement that continues today. Early influences. Rachel was born in Springdale, Pennsylvania in 1907. During her childhood, her mother encouraged her to explore the landscape around the family's farm. Rachel's love of nature grew and affected her decisions throughout her life. For example, she first wanted to study writing. However, she later chose to study biology. As she studied ocean animals, the glistening and shimmering seascape captured her interest. From an early age, Rachel also loved to write. Her writing skills were useful in her career. She began by creating radio programs for the U.S. Bureau of Fisheries. She then became an editor for the agency. She also wrote her own articles about nature for newspapers and magazines. Rachel published 3 books about the ocean and its native plants and animals: Under the Sea Wind, The Sea Around Us, and The Edge of the Sea. Rachel supported the ideas in her writing with well-researched facts. Rachel preferred working alone as she gathered information. A call to action. One day, Rachel got a letter from friends Olga and Stuart Huckins. They described problems resulting from the spraying of the chemical DDT on private land reserved for wildlife. Chemical companies had created DDT as a way to stop crop-eating insects on farms and plantations. On the Huckins land, however, DDT also seemed to harm birds. In response, Rachel hired people to study the Huckins claim. When she realized the study was taking a long time, she became worried. She decided to study the problem alone and publish her findings. She wanted to warn people about the dangers of these chemicals. To emphasize the issue, she urged readers to imagine a world without songbirds. The book's title, Silent Spring, describes this possible effect of pesticide misuse. Rachel's book encouraged readers to speak out against the chemical companies. Readers demanded an investigation. They asked the government to control pesticide use. In response, President John Kennedy created a congressional committee to study the problem. Rachel spoke at the committee's meetings and gave facts to influence its decisions. Rachel's research revealed that DDT caused damage to birds and eggs. Food chains show how pesticides intended for insects can affect animals. Sample food chains. Level in food chain, producer. Land food chain, grass. Ocean food chain, phytoplankton.
Okay, so for land food chain, these are the producers. So they produce the food for other animals. So if you're on land, it's grass. And if you're in the ocean, it's plankton. Yes, like the plankton you hear about on SpongeBob. This one is called the consumer. So they consume food like we consume bananas, apples, oranges, fruits, vegetables, French fries, things like that. So a grasshopper is a consumer, and so is zooplankton. Another consumer is a rat. So a rat might eat a grasshopper, and then the fish might eat the 2 forms of plankton. And then the third one is consumer is a snake. So a snake eats a rat, but the rat eats the grass. So it's kind of saying the snake eats the rat, but the rat eats the grasshopper, and then the grasshopper eats the grass. And then the seal eats the fish, and so on. All right, and we're going to go ahead and listen to a strong reaction.
A strong reaction. Meanwhile, chemical companies tried to speak out against Rachel's claims. They published reports that put down her ideas. They made television advertisements that told people that their products were safe, but they could not change many people's opinions about pesticide use. Rachel worried that once pesticides poisoned an area, it might be impossible to restore it back to the way it had been before. Man's attitude toward nature is today critically important, simply because we have now acquired a fateful power to alter and destroy nature, she said. Her words and her efforts led the United States government to control the use of some pesticides. Even so, chemical companies produce them for export to other countries. Rachel Carson died shortly after Silent Spring was published, but her voice survives within her books, expressing her desire to preserve and protect the natural world. Rachel Carson understood the power her words had to educate others, especially children.
All right, you guys, that is the end of today's story. Do not forget to go ahead and take the question or answer the questions. And remember, you can always listen to this video more than once if you don't know the answer to a question. Have a great day.